You can't see, but I've got goosebumps like coming up around my ears under these headphones.
The virality of the video.
Wedding photographers and videographers are a little bit apprehensive.
But I got I think it's like 8.4 million on that.
Nobody goes from 1850 to 10k.
Because I send a voice message, the more likely to send a voice message back.
TikTok's like a strange blend between a YouTube and an Instagram.
They're expecting to see the $10,000 camera after they've seen the iPhone footage.
People do underestimate YouTubers.
1999 and 1950.
Mine was like that until about 6 months ago.
The person who's best to compare myself to is me.
We remove our opinion on all of the content.
Shock horror, my Insta 360 caught the whole thing.
It's going to sound awful and probably get crucified for this.
Oh, yeah, something has happened once, but the police have come.
What's happening, guys? Jamie, how's it going, mate?
All good, mate, all good.
So into today's live, Wednesday, 12 o'clock, like we do every single week, we are going to be looking at how to analyze your ads in less than 5 minutes, because this is a topic that I suppose does come up quite a bit inside of the Get Seen, Get Booked Facebook group. We know that there's a lot of people inside of the group who have tried the Thunderdome system. They've followed the YouTube video that we have, taken you through how to set up the video and how to set up your ads. But there's obviously a lot more to run an ad than just actually launching your ads. You need to be able to look at data, analyze, and make decisions. So what we kind of wanted to go over in today's live was to have a bit of a chat about how you guys are generally analyzing your ads and the way that you should be analyzing your ads if you want to kind of measure performance and if you want to make the correct decisions on your ads that you do have live. And the whole point of this is being able to improve. Every time you run an ad, the next goal is to improve it and get better results. So let us know. We can see we've got people starting to jump on. Let us know in the comments who is here. Say hello in the comments. Give it a little like. Give it a share. Well, actually, you don't really need to share it because we're inside of a private group, but just give it a little like. It's not going to go anywhere apart from the group. I mean, you can share it.
Give the group a share.
You can give the group a share. Jamie, anything you want to kick off with, mate?
No, I think what will be a really good starting point is for those that are watching. Where do you get hung up on analyzing your ads? That will be a really good starting point. I think that's a good. That's good to get some feedback into those watching, because again, we don't just want to go over stuff here on the live. We want to make sure it's as valuable as possible, specifically for you that are sat live with us as well. So if you throw your questions in or your regular stumbling blocks and where you get hung up on, I think that'll be a really good starting point. But we're also going to kind of kick off with what we see time and time again. And it's one of those things, like, everybody in here is a creative type. You're not supposed to just know marketing, and you're not supposed to know media buying and how to analyze things. And sometimes people get caught up a lot, and it's so easy when you go into Ads Manager and see all the different metrics. It's so easy to be overwhelmed by them. So we want to break things down and help you to analyze what's going on in your ad account in less than 5 minutes, and give you just yes, it's going to be a basic analysis, but you're going to be able to take actions from it as well.
Sorry, I'm just laughing because Adam's saying that good afternoon. I've just jumped on. I thought Billy was from Squid Games with that top one. I actually haven't seen Squid Games.
I haven't seen it.
But before we jumped on the live, before we actually pressed go live, I said to Jamie, this top doesn't actually look this color. It looks massively oversaturated on the camera for some reason. It is pink or peach, but it looks a bit saturated. Paul has dropped in a couple of kisses. Thanks for that, Paul. Appreciate it, mate. It also has the yes emoji, a yes sticker. That's what it is.
Punching the air is the sticker in the comments. Yeah.
But it doesn't actually pull through inside of StreamYard. So let us know in the comments if you ran ads. Let us know how you're analyzing ads. Let us know what problems you've run into and what questions you have, and we are going to answer them for you as we go through this live today. So Jamie, then, just jumping across then. So some of the things that I've noticed inside of the Facebook group from the guys who have ran ads, and if we can just take a step back a little bit rather than just talking about the actual analysis, because I think it's important, first of all, is just talk about the different ad campaigns, because I've noticed that people will say Facebook ads aren't working when they're trying to analyze the data, but then when they'll share the ads inside of the group, we'll notice that they're not running the correct campaign objective. Like they might be running traffic or engagement. So I don't know if you just want to talk a little bit about why it's important to select kind of the end goal and what we look for when doing ads.
Yeah. So 9 times out of 10, you're going to be running ads with not for an objective of traffic or engagement, which tends to be like that's kind of like the go-to thesis. And the logic is understandable because it's, I want more engagement and or traffic so that more people go to my website so that I get more leads. But actually what we want to do is optimize for leads, because if you optimize, the objective that you pick is what the optimization is set for the goal. So then you're telling the algorithm that you don't care about anything except engagement, or if you pick traffic, you want traffic. So it's going to find a lot of non-buyers and just people who aren't even maybe in your customer type whatsoever, because it's purely looking for people who visit websites basically similar to yours. And a lot of people who visit your website that aren't your exact customer. You want to find people who are the people that go to your website that become a lead, and similar kinds of that people. So we're optimizing for the lead. The algorithm and the system is smart enough to be able to skip all of the engagement, the traffic, all of that bit, and optimize for that end business goal, which is to become a lead. So that is the first thing. You need to make sure you're going inside of Ads Manager and optimizing for leads. You can do this on Facebook/Instagram with lead forms. Historically, they have a much lower quality lead that comes into play. They have updated it with a lot of conditional logic and things that you can kind of not so much control, but prevent the quality from being as low as it used to be. But generally speaking, the highest quality of lead will be those that fill in a lead form on your website. But then that also brings into question, is your website optimized to gather leads and collect those leads? Does it load fast enough? Is it easy to understand? Is it, is the experience nice, and does it flow the right way? All of these things are kind of come into play, but they're all very important.
What I think is quite interesting about this topic is when people in the Get Seen Get Booked Facebook group have ran their own ads, and we've kind of asked the question, well, how are the ads performing? A lot of the time we'll get people to say, oh, great, like I've got loads of video views, or I've had like loads of comments, or like I'm getting like this particular ad's getting like a lot of like link clicks and stuff. But then when the campaign the campaign objective is being incorrectly selected, like Jamie said, if you select traffic, which it is a total logical step if you've never ran ads before, because you do think, right, I want to get more traffic to my website, so I'm going to do traffic, but you need to optimize for that end goal, which is going to be a lead. But when we ask people to say, right, are your ads doing well, or the performing, a lot of the time we'll get like responses, oh yeah, I'm getting like loads of video views and stuff. But video views isn't necessarily a metric that you want to be judging your ads on. Let's say you run a video view campaign on Facebook, and this is where you've got to be quite careful if you pay someone to run your ads as well, because if you don't know what the end goal is meant to be, it's quite easy to, I don't want to say trick people, but pull the wool over someone's eyes and make the ads look like they're performing much better than they actually are, because you can get tied up in things like video views, where if we tell Facebook that we want to run a video view campaign, you'll get them for like 0.012 pence. And it's really easy to inflate the numbers. But what we're really interested in is how many leads are we actually getting? How many good quality people are we moving from Facebook across to your website, and then those people are becoming a lead? That's what we want to actually do. But if you select things like traffic, you're not necessarily optimizing for your ideal audience. You need to optimize for the end goal. So this is what we're going to break down today. We're going to be breaking down, once you've got your campaign objective correctly selected, which it should be leads. This is what we all should be doing really in the wedding industry. What data really matters, and how can we improve the ads based on these numbers? Just before I let you go on, Jamie, and explain some of the key metrics, just a point here from Adam is just saying it's a bit like when SEO companies will say that you will get your top, but these keywords are the ones that are easy to achieve, and it's not what people search for. Yeah, I suppose there are similarities there. It's and you never really want the wool pulled over your eyes at all. What you just want to have is a good understanding of what metrics you should be looking for. What would you say, Jamie, in the first instance then, when anyone's running ads, what do you think are what's the first, if you're analyzing an ad campaign anyway, what's the first set of data that you'll always go to first?
For a brand new thing, you always want to start at you always want to start with the most important result, which is cost per lead. Like, are you actually getting leads? Because then when you look over the rest of the data, that you are looking to find out A, why you are not, or B, why you are getting leads. So you need to assess that end goal, how close or far away you are from the end goal, which is the result first, before you can apply any assessment to the other metrics. So are you getting leads? If you are, what price are they? Are they too expensive? Are they under cost? Are they on cost? Which again, this is why it's very important to know your numbers before you start. So if you don't, make sure you do. If you search in the group lead calculator, you'll find a free spreadsheet that you can download and use, or make a copy of. It's a Google Sheet. Make a copy of, put your numbers in. It'll give you your lead costs before you start running ads. So definitely check that out.
There's a live on that as well to take you through it.
Yeah, I think if you just search in the group lead calculator, it should come up. So it's important to know that you have to know how close or far away you are from the end goal. So the next thing I would go to is, how is Facebook assessing the ads? And the metric that you come to here is CPM. Now, CPM isn't necessarily an actionable metric. CPM is how much Facebook or Meta charges you to run ads across Instagram and Facebook. It's because the platform is an auction. So the better experience your ad is, the lower your CPM will be, which means the lower they'll charge you, because it's a good experience for the user and that's what they want. So they'll serve better experiences so when they're serving your ad, they're essentially serving better experiences than anybody else. Or than some people. If you have a really bad experience, your CPM will be through the roof, and it's, a super high CPM is just a step before getting ads rejected and all that kind of stuff. So
did you explain what CPM meant? Sorry, I was just replying to one of the comments in the group. Did we explain what CPM actually meant, just for people?
Yeah, so CPM means cost per thousand or cost per milli. M is also the Roman numeral for thousand. So that's the way it's a good way to remember it. So cost per thousand impressions. Like I said, it's an auction. So the better experience your ad is, the less you'll pay. And that's the reason we look at that as one of the first metrics is because it allows us to say, right, does Meta like this? And more importantly, is it estimating that users will like it? So that's important. And then we start to look at, if you're running video ads, we want to start looking at, so there's a good way to assess things in terms of a marketing framework called AIDA. So there's attention, interest, desire, and action. For attention, that's literally what the first step is. We can't get anybody to click through or do anything unless we grab their attention first. And if you're running a video ad, there is a way to do this, to create a custom metric. Inside of your columns, you can scroll down to find custom metrics. And when you click create custom metric at the top, now Meta actually give you the most common custom metrics. And some people call it attention, some people call it thumb stop or scroll stop. And the metric, the equation is 3-second video views divided by impressions. So what that does is it calculates, of the impressions that Meta served your ads, how many of them stopped on your ad for at least 3 seconds. And because it's a 3-second video view, you can measure this on videos. But that's the first, okay, am I grabbing attention? Because if you're not grabbing attention, then you can't do anything else. That's the first goal of your ad. You must grab attention. And you want to be aiming for about 25% benchmark. 25% and above is good. you can allow things to fluctuate down to 20%, but then other metrics kind of have to make up for that as well. But that's a little bit more of an advanced assessment, but that's the first thing to do. Try to make sure that your video ads are grabbing attention, because you've got to do that first, regardless of anything else.
Yeah, I mean, the attention's so important, and it's something that you'll hear us a lot on these lives talk about, like, right, what's happening in your first 3 seconds? Are you testing the first 3 seconds? This is why, if you've already followed our Thunderdome YouTube video on how to set up an ad, you'll know that there's 3 variations of a video that we'll put in. It can be 3 images as well if you are running images. But the reason that, if from a video perspective, if there's 3 variations of the video, what we're generally doing on all 3 of those variations is having a different first 3 seconds, because you could have the best video in the world, but if no one gets past the first 3 seconds, they're not going to see it. This is why the attention's so important. So when you keep hearing me and Jamie talk about when videographers in the wedding industry will start an ad, and the first 3 seconds is black because the logo's fading in, then it goes to a drone shot. And sometimes we're like 10 to 15 seconds in before there's any indication that this is even a wedding. Sometimes it can just look like it could be a drone company, it could be a venue, it could be the venue who's doing an ad. Sometimes there's no indication at all. So this is why you've got to test the first 3 seconds to work out what grabs their attention, because like Jamie's just said, without grabbing attention, you're not getting past that. So this is why it's so important. Just got a couple of points here, Jamie, we're going to go over. Alex, I'm going to come back to your ads data that you've posted in a minute. And I'm just going to come back. I'm just going to start with the second one that you posted first, because I'm just going to go in order the way we were talking about it. So Alex, hi, Alex. Thanks for jumping on. If you haven't ran ads, do you put all your organic leads into the calculator? And if so, how does that work when you want to spend in ads? For instance, you've got 88 leads and 28 bookings over 12 months. I mean, if you've never run ads before, I mean, I suppose you can put your data in terms of understanding how many leads you're getting and how many bookings, because what you can then work out, you can give yourself a rough idea of what your conversion rate is based on how many leads that you've spoken to, well, how many leads that you've got. Then you can even go a little bit deeper if you want. So how many leads do you have? How many did you get on the phone? And how many did you book? So there's like a middle number that you could even look at here if you wanted to. So you had 88 leads. How many did you get on the phone? I don't know. Let's just say it's 50, for example. But then you booked 28. You've gotten a rough idea now of what your conversion rate is. So it means when you start running ads, you might be like, right, okay, if I can get leads for, say, £50 or £25 a lead, and you know that you've got a 20 or 30% conversion rate, you can start to work out, right, if I get £25 a lead, I've got 10 leads, I've spent £250, but I've got a 30% conversion rate, so 3 in 10 I'm converting. You can start to work out the maths that way. So it gives you a good starting point to know. But one thing that just in general, one thing that I've noticed quite a lot is that people tend to overestimate how high the conversion rate is until I actually start writing it down. So these numbers here look like you're tracking, Alex, which is really good. It looks like you've got 88 leads and you've got 28 bookings, so you're tracking. But a lot of the time, right, me and Jamie will speak to people and say, what's your conversion rate like? And 9 times out of 10, people say, well, if I get them on the phone, I've got the sale. And then we'll start, and then we'll be like, all right, okay. And then we'll start diving in and start working with people. And it turns out that, oh, well, hang on, you've actually had like 20 leads here. You've had 5 on the phone, but you've still got no bookings. So it's really important to track your numbers. I don't know if you've got your 2 pence to add onto that, Jamie, or if everything's covered before we move on.
Yeah, you've got to start with a foundation of something to get away with. I mean, that's 28 to 88 is actually amazing. That's nearly 30 to 90. So you're looking at like 30%. Over 30%, just over 30% of a booking rate, which is incredible. Now that it will always be higher organically, generally speaking. So that might even come down to 20%, but that's still good. That is still good. So what that means is the way to do this is the way to look at this from this point of view is to say that, okay, what is your deposit? How much do you charge someone for a deposit to book you in a wedding? You're going to take that deposit number and then you're going to divide that. Let's say you're at a 30%, and you've got, for that means for every 10 leads that you get, you're going to convert 3. And then you're going to work backwards. You're basically going to use your deposit number to work backwards to your break even. And that's going to give you a lead cost. but it can be very confusing when I talk it out loud. If you download the spreadsheet, you'll just see it in a calculation. It's much easier.
I think the easy way to explain it, because it is really hard talking about percentages when you're not actually looking at something. If you take like a basic number, let's say you've worked out that you've got a 10% conversion rate, right? And you're getting leads to £25. You know that every 1 in 10 you're going to convert, which means at £25 a lead, you're going to spend £250 per booking. That's just easy maths. You can do it that way. Quick maths. But use the calculator. It really, really does help. I haven't. This is Facebook user here that on the comment that just came through, and it has the word Notion in. So I just know. Hi, Naeem.
That's 100%.
I know. I don't even need to look who it is. I just know Naeem's on the call. So
Naeem's got a Notion tattoo.
These are just some of the. So these are just some of the some analytics that Alex has posted in here, Jamie. So one lead in 7 days. Amount spent £110. 13,000 impressions, 504 link clicks, and cost per click is 500. No, that can't be right, can it? Cost per click.
Cost per click is 110.57 divided by 504. Its cost per link click is 21 pence. So this is something that you often hear from. You often kind of see. Cost per click is a much overestimated or overused metric. It is simply an output of cost divided by of click-through rate. How much have you spent? What's a click-through rate? It's a very similar way to look at it, but it's not you're not going to aim for it necessarily for a cost per click goal, but you will aim for CPM benchmarks and click-through rate benchmarks as well. So cost per click it's not indicative of you need to get your cost per click down to this much. It's much easier to use a click-through rate percentage because cost per click is basically just an output of different combinations of the important metrics like CPM, how much you've spent, and click-through rate. So ignore cost per click. You don't need to worry about that. All you need to think about is are your video ads grabbing attention? Are you after the attention? Are enough people clicking through? So you want to be aiming in the realm of 1% for a click-through rate. That's an average. And what percentage of those people? What's your cost per lead? Obviously, here you've got one lead for £110. That's probably way too much. You'll want to be looking at. I want to say, this is the same person as the last. Same Facebook user. Yeah, okay. So you want to be aiming, you're probably going to be in the region of about £30-ish. The quick maths in my head. It could be a bit off there, but you want to be aiming for a cost per lead of 30 quid. So what this tells you now, another kind of slightly advanced thing to be looking at in terms of ads, is that you want to be able to forecast results. Now, because you are 3 times or over 3 times, almost 4 times, roughly my estimation of your goal cost per lead, the likelihood that this will recover is very, very unlikely. So this just needs to be turned off. And then you need to try again with something else. Now, one thing that some people get hung up on is that they need to spend a lot of time creating this one ad that is going to kill it for them. That is not the mentality to have. The mentality to have is to create ads at volume, because you will have a much higher, you need to give yourself a higher chance of success. And you spending longer on one thing does not do that. Because oftentimes the reason things that go mental are often things that you're easily overlooked because you're working too hard. But this kind of doubles in the creative industry when you are a videographer or photographer, because it's almost impossible to shift your mentality from what is a better creative output to what is required to grab attention on social media, because they're two completely different things. And your brain is wired for the end creative goal. So it's very hard to take away from that. So a mass of volume is the thing that is going to help you find success faster. So I would kill this ad and start creating 3, 4, 5 different concepts and get to work on them. You can even post them in the group as well. And a lot of people, not just us when we can, but a lot of other people will be able to help you and weigh in on that.
Adam's just saying that I mostly start with a couple shot. He must be talking about his content here. This is purely for social media purposes, not what I mostly like to do, but it's what I have to do. Yeah, you've got to, what like I call it, you've got to play the social media game. You've got to put yourself in the mindset or the shoes of people who are getting married. They're not going on Facebook to scroll for wedding photography or wedding videographers. They're scrolling on there because they just go on Facebook all of the time. They pick up the phone. Like, look at yesterday when Facebook went down, people were having an absolute meltdown when Facebook went off. So when they're scrolling on Facebook, you've got to kind of grab their attention. That's why. And if someone's getting married and they see an opening shot and it's really obvious that it's from a wedding, there's a good chance that if it's a strong opening or you've got a strong hook across the screen, there's a good chance that you are going to grab their attention. I see videos starting with trees and flowers, but it doesn't engage people. Yeah, because if it's starting with trees, it could be anything. It could be like a wildlife video or anything. So this is why you've got to get straight to the point. And we always say grab attention within the first 3 seconds, but that number is really, really coming down. People do not give you that much time. They're not that lenient. They're just like, right, if they're not lenient like that, it's now they just don't have time for it because they're just like, right, I'm going to the next video. So you've got to grab attention. The first few seconds of your video are super, super important. Leighton, hi Leighton, thanks for jumping on. Leighton is just saying, I followed the setup of the 322, setting up for leads, but my ad is showing to a lot of people over 50 and to a lot of my friends, which is observed is not my market. Well, I think on this point, it's important to understand how the Facebook algorithm actually works, because if it's being shown to your friends, there's a very high chance that your friends are engaging in your content quite a lot. So they're looking at your content or other people in the wedding industry, and then Facebook's serving the ads out to them. Because what the algorithm does, it'll highlight who's engaging with which type of content, and then it'll serve it out to them. But the friend thing is really good. I'm glad you've brought that up, because I think I mentioned this a few weeks ago, actually, but there's this post going around where it's like, invite all of your friends to my page and like help the local business out. But the problem is it's not helping the local business. It's actually causing you a problem, because all of these people who engage in your page, when you switch your ads on, Facebook will serve ads to them because Facebook will think they're interested, where they're not. All they've done is they've tried to be nice. They've tried to help a friend or a family member out, which is good, but it's actually having a negative impact on your page. As for it being shown out to people over 50, what age range have you selected, Leighton? Is there what I'm guessing he's probably selected under 50, but if you've got the advantage audience switched on, is that what it's called? Advantage audience?
Advantage plus audience, yeah.
Advantage
So this is actually something. This is something that we've seen in a couple of accounts as well, and actually it happened to somebody in the Web Business Accelerator as well. Maybe two people in the accelerator. So Advantage plus audience is something that works very, very well. But like anything, that's most of the time. Sometimes, so what happens with Advantage plus audience is you give it like a range, and it will say, just like it is mandatory for interest and all that kind of stuff, which you shouldn't be using anyway. But anyways, I'm not going to that rabbit hole. But it will go outside of your selected ranges if it feels like there's an opportunity to acquire leads for a lower cost. And what it's doing is it's seeing these people that are investigating your page, going on multiple pages. They are taking the same actions as somebody that usually becomes a lead, which means the algorithm thinks that they're a potential lead. Now, what you can do is switch back to manual audience control and just nullify that and just say only serve it to this very particular age range. That is an option to do. So just keep that in mind as well. You're muted somehow, Billy.
Sorry, it's because I was taking a drink. I'm muted. So he's just saying that when I followed your instructions, it didn't let me pick the maximum age. It usually does. When I've used ads in the past. Yeah, there's actually been some updates in Facebook, and basically the video that we've got on YouTube now was released before these updates. So there is a slightly different way of setting up on the audience section when you're running your ad now. So this is why
you'll find it on that. Yeah, it's changing. You'll find it on that Advantage Plus audience, Leighton. There'll be a little button that says something like "Go back to manual or
Yeah.
go back to or select older, whatever it might be, whatever it is. But the chances are they're probably going to remove that
For
once
all
they
of-
fix. So what they do? Sorry to interrupt you, but basically what they do is they'll release something like this. They'll get a bunch of feedback off advertisers, and then they'll try to fix it, and then they'll kind of take away your option, because generally speaking, 90%, 80%, whatever the overwhelming majority is, percentage of the time, it works better. This is why they've removed the ability to target with interests and stuff like that.
And this is one of the reasons and one of the massive advantages of being inside of our Wedding Business Accelerator program. And by the way, we're going to be dropping an announcement later on today, probably this evening, because we are getting ready to open up spaces and the information is going to follow. But what my point was, it's one of the massive advantages about being inside of the Wedding Business Accelerator program, because when you're running ads, not only do we run all of the ads with you on the live group coaching calls, people in the Wedding Business Accelerator program knew about this feature the day after it got released, because obviously we're in and out of Facebook, we're inside of Facebook daily, all day. So as soon as this update happened, we let everyone know inside of the Wedding Business Accelerator program, and you literally will talk about it. So any updates, like, you find out almost instantly. As soon as we find out, you find out. And just saying there that that was going to be my next question about the program. Yeah, just watch the group tonight. There's, at some point today, later on, I'll tag everyone anyway. Actually, I've already used the everyone. Jamie will tag everyone, and there'll be more information about it and how you can get signed up for that. Just going back up to the comments. So this is definitely Naeem. I don't even need to look. So if you use Notion database, you can tag. Yeah, if you can use your Notion database, you can tag all your organic leads as organic. So when you do start running ads, you can filter those out. Obviously, also works for any spreadsheet. Yeah,
what you'll tend to see as well, we always see this with businesses we work with, is that your organic leads will increase when you start running ads as well. So you don't necessarily need. Yes, it's good to see how they come into your ecosystem. It is very good to see what path they take in terms of trying to contact you, because then you can focus how to optimize these different paths. But it's just something to be wary of, in a sense of, right, I started running ads, all of my organic leads have increased. And then if your ad costs are slightly above, your direct ad leads are slightly above your cost, you know that it's not a case of, oh, we'll just turn them off and I'll save loads of money because I'm getting loads of leads organically. That's at a much higher spend rate, but keep that in mind as well, because and we'll often see as well, if somebody's running Google ads, when you start running Facebook ads or Meta ads on both Facebook and Instagram, your Google ad results also improve as well if they're set up the right way, because it's just it creates an ecosystem where you are on what's called omnipresent. So you're present in multiple different areas, and social media creates that intent, and Google is set up to capture that intent. So it's good to keep in mind that there's a full spectrum balance of how things help each other.
And one thing, a good point really to talk about here, and because Naeem is actually inside of our Wedding Business Accelerator
I'm
program.
itching to use Notion, Naeem. I'm itching to use it. I just don't have the time yet, but I'm itching.
But Naeem set up a landing page specifically for his ads. So all of his ads traffic was getting sent to a dedicated landing page for Facebook ads, because it was tweaked slightly differently. But what actually happened is he had 7 leads recently, and 4 of them didn't go through that landing page, and they actually came through his original website, because it's really important to understand that when you're running ads, the audience don't always necessarily take the exact journey or path that we want them to go on. What they might do is they might see your ad, they might go to your landing page, they might click off, then they might search you on Google, then they might go back to your website, then they might go to your socials, then a few days later, they might decide, right, I'm just going to go directly to your website. But if they type in, I don't like above the action mine, they're going to get sent to me homepage and not necessarily the landing page that I'm sending to on the ads. So it's important to know the customer journey, and this is how it all can work together. And this is when Jamie was saying that your organic stuff will come up as well, because a lot of the time when you're running ads, your organic leads can actually be the result of ads in a roundabout way, like a different journey that someone's taken. And it's important just to understand the thing of what you want is, when you're running ads, you just want to be getting an increase of leads. That's what you want. And you want to know what isn't working. That's how we make the decisions on the actual ads.
Yeah, and I think that highlights the. I know we talk about the fact that somebody requires multiple touch points before they become a lead. That is very true, and that's why people, but I think we got to remember. I think you said this last week, Billy, or it might be on a coaching call, but people don't just need multiple touch points, but it's very easy to assume that when we're running ads as the wedding photographer and videographer, we just consume the wedding planning process in the customer's mind, but absolutely do not. You are a small part of that entire wedding planning process. So you have to understand that they are probably eyeing up. The data out we've seen is like 2 to 5, but it's usually about 2 to 3 or 4 that they're eyeing up other essentially competition for yourself. So they are going to weigh things up against each other. So you need to have multiple touch points. So in Naeem's case, there's a very good likelihood, and this is not just Naeem's case, but in many people's cases, they will see an ad, they will go to your landing page, they will go to the other person's landing pages, they'll have a look at them, they'll come back to your website because they'll have saved it or they'll find you again. And there's a lot of back and forth like assessments and all that kind of stuff being made. So multiple touch points, which is why, again, that the Thunderdome system works so well, is because it's about creating different concepts, which is essentially those different touch points. So the idea of the Thunderdome system is that the touch points that people need, the concepts that we create, are kind of set up as different sales objections so that we have that conversation with them during the touch points, and they have less barriers to become a lead and set up a sales call.
Yeah. I think that's Adam saying that Notion is amazing for planning. And then we've got Naeem saying, I'll show you my Notion if you show me yours. I think this must be Alex who was asking this, basically saying, so should I kill this campaign or just add new creatives as new ad sets within the same campaign?
Should I kill this campaign or just add new creatives to new ad sets within the same campaign?
Alex.
I would kill it off, mate, because you're over about 3. So the first thing to do is to turn it off. Second thing to do is to get the leads calculator and find out your cost per lead. Usually, if you've spent around about 3 times as much as your goal cost per lead without a lead, then it is just unrecoverable. But you've also got the issue here of you've almost spent 4 on estimations. What I would do is just kill this concept. And the next time you run ads, the best thing to do is to start with 2 concepts, so that because your budget is the Thunderdome system, the budget is set at the campaign level. So what that means is that if you start with 2, the algorithm is basically going to find a winner. And this is where I came up with the name of the Thunderdome system, because if anyone knows what Mad Max is, it's 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. And there's going to be one winner, which means, and that winner is then going to set a benchmark inside the campaign for all of your next concepts that come into play. So set up 2. One of them can be a tweaked variation of what you've had running to try and make that better. But then another one wants to ideally be a brand new concept.
Yeah. I think we've done that when I follow the instructions. Yeah, maximum age, we've done that one. That was going to be my next question. Yeah, that's what the program details are going to be released tonight. Well, this later on today. Naeem's just saying, agree, they don't always do what they're supposed to do. Yeah, the Naeem's just talking about the conversation about the customer journey here, and they don't always follow the link on the actual ad. They can go and check out your socials. This is why your organic game is quite important as well, because yes, if you're just running ads, people are going to be seeing your content because Facebook's going to be pushing your content out. But they might want to go and binge and have a look at more of your content. So they might go across to TikTok, they might go to your Instagram or your Facebook page or your YouTube channel or your website. Now, I'm not saying you've got to be on every channel. I mean, it's best if you are, but it's important to have an organic strategy and trying to be as consistent as you can or as frequent as you can with your organic game as well. I'm not saying that I'm not going to go and be one of these people who say you've got to go and post 3 times a day and you've got to have like 25 videos a week and things like that. It's just like try and get into a routine where you're at least being fairly active. So if someone does go to your page from an ad, they can see that there's been some like recent activity. It's always a good idea to have that. Leighton is just saying that I had 2 ads running, but Facebook are sending all my budget to just 1. Does that mean that they think that ad is better?
I've got 2 ads running, but Facebook are sending all my budget to just one. Does that mean that they think yes? Yes. So it's got a higher estimated action rate, which means that the optimization goal, which is highest cost, highest volume, lowest cost, it means that the estimated action rate is that this ad, this concept will is got the highest likelihood of achieving that goal.
Yeah. And that's how the Thunderdome is the Thunderdome structure.
It is fun though.
It is fun. The Thunderdome, that could be the new one. But that's the way it's set up. It gives Facebook the power to go and put your budget into the ads that it feels is going to get the best results. And once we start getting clear winners, we can move the winners into a winning campaign, and then we'll put new concepts into it. And it's a constant testing cycle, wheel, whatever you want to call it, of introducing new concepts. And the goal is to always try and find better ads than the ones that are even performing. And you want to try and improve that performance. But it's not like a magic fix on Facebook where you just run the Thunderdome, and then it's basically a system that allows us to test. But when we do find concepts that start to pop off and fire, this is when you can start to really scale your campaigns and bring in more leads, because you start to find what your audience is reacting to and what's working for your audience, and you can make different variations from different weddings. And this is where it starts to come into its own, and you can start to really scale your business through the use of Facebook ads this way. Do we have any other questions? Anyone got anything they want to ask us about this? More than happy to stay on and answer your questions, guys. So get them in the comments if you do have any now. Is there anyone else that's running ads and they've got any specific questions? Is there anything about analyzing your ads data that you might not necessarily fully understand and you'd like more clarity on? Just drop us a message in the comments now, and we are going to answer them for you. But I mean, just a bit of a recap. Before anyone starts really running ads and analyzing data, I think it's really important to understand your numbers. So if you haven't watched that Facebook Live about knowing your numbers with the lead sheet calculator as a template that's inside of the Facebook group, go and have a look at that and start to try and work it out. Even if you haven't run ads before, start to think about what your conversion rate is. So what I mean is, how many people do you speak to? How many do you get on a phone? Once they are on a phone, how many do you convert? It's important. It's a really, really good starting point for this.
And it's there's a lot. I think that it's, one thing I want everybody to be not necessarily prepared for, but to be willing to accept. And I think prepared is probably a good word. Is that you'll never kind of leave the drawing board for ads. So it's really important to learn however way you can best, is to learn how to enjoy the process, because it is at points going to get very frustrating. It is. That's just it. That's it. It's running a business. It's trying to get more customers. It's going to get frustrating. Things that you think work, you're going to spend a lot of time on one area where you think, all right, this is going to work really well. Even if you see the data, right? Oh, this has worked. This looks like it's going to work well. It's shown that it's worked well in other things. I'll try it in this way, and then that doesn't work, and it bombs, and you're like, what the fuck? And it's just that's why it's important to try to have some kind of community of people around you, because it's frustrating. But the more that you're going to learn to enjoy the process and come to accept the fact that you until you get to the stage where you are happy enough and at the level enough to pay for someone competent enough to do all of your ad stuff for you, which for when photographers and videographers is going to be a difficult season. It's going to be something difficult to reach. But until you get to that stage, you're always going to be looking for new concepts and new ideas. Yes, you will have things that run sometimes evergreen, especially if you're national or internationally based, because they'll just constantly, you've got a much bigger audience. But if you only serve a particular area, your ad concepts are going to fatigue, and you're going to need to create new concepts at a much higher rate, which is why volume is a necessity and the key to success. So it's just, it is frustrating. There's no two ways about it. Where I still get frustrated running, it's a lot more frustrating when you're spending $250,000 of somebody else's money every month. Very frustrating and sometimes stressful. But at the same time, once you get into that groove, then it's you know which actions to take, how to do it. You don't get emotionally involved as much as possible, which again is really hard as a creative because everybody in here has the business that they have through a love of the business. So it is hard not to get emotionally involved. But when it comes to these ads, just try to remove emotion, look at the data points, and when you need to, just go again. But yeah, being able to chat inside of this free group is essential. And again, obviously, we kind of take that up a notch in the accelerator. But yeah, just get ready to enjoy the process, because I promise you, if you learn to enjoy it, I can hand on heart, I would bet me house that you're gonna not only find success faster, but you're gonna get less frustrated and genuinely have fun growing your business.
And Naeem's just saying that jump on the course and get ready for the season, lads and ladies. Yes, Naeem's actually one of the members inside of the Wedding Business Accelerator program. I appreciate you saying that, Naeem. Thank you very much for that.
He was not incentivized to say that, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
The following announcement has been paid for by the Wedding Business Accelerator.
And Naeem's also saying that it's super frustrating, but having the get seen, get booked crew to chat things through is extremely valuable. Yeah, we do 2 live group coaching sessions each week. So every single Monday and every single Wednesday at 1:30 to 2:30 inside the program, we do a group coaching where we basically do before the click and after the click. Before the click, we're looking at your ads, everything that happens before the click on your ad. And then on Wednesday, we'll look at everything that happens after. So like your website, your follow-up sequences, your processes, your calls, your data, all of that sort of stuff. So it's broken down in a real logical way. Just going back to some more questions that we have. This one is from Leighton. I had 2 ads running with Facebook. Oh, no, we've done that one. This one is from... Yes, this one is from Leighton. So Leighton is saying, going back to the 3-2-2 method, which is our Thunderdome system, how can we check which headlines, etc., are working? Is the analytics? Yes, there is analytics. You can go inside of the data. You can break it down by headlines, and you can actually see the different headlines that you've got, where Facebook's putting the spend and how there is a performance. Again, all this sort of stuff, Leighton, we've got walkthrough videos inside of the training program on how you can do this step by step. But if you do go to the analytics, you can find it there.
It's an easy way to find it is that, so this is like not a mistake, but something that is the most simple hack to do is that if you've got a smaller screen or bad eyesight, I suppose, and you've got things like magnified on your computer, your columns, the drop down columns. So let's imagine you're an ads manager and you've got the drop down columns on the top right, where you select your columns and customize columns, lives and stuff like that. It will just show like an icon of columns. If you zoom out, then it will give it a label. So what I recommend you doing is, when you're in ads manager, zooming out so that it labels everything. You can see everything clearly. The next to the right of the breakdowns of the columns tab is breakdown. What you need to do is scroll down to breakdown by creative element, then select headline, and that's how you see all of your ads columns for each individual headline. Same thing, your copy is there. You can break down by any of the 3 creative elements, like your images and videos as well. You're muted again. Were you coughing?
I was coughing. Leighton is just saying, cool, thanks, gents. No problem at all. That's the exact reason why we do these lives. Alex is just saying, so are we creating new ad sets for each new concept and then run them against each other, or multiple concepts within one ad set?
New concepts for every ad set, because so there's a couple of reasons we do this. We need to make sure that everything goes together. You have to have one concept so that the algorithm knows to serve it. And plus, if you have multiple concepts within one ad set, then your 3 creatives, your 2 copies, and your 2 headlines, they won't match with each other, because you could blend of different concepts. So when we do 3-2-2, 3 creatives, 2 copies, and 2 headlines equals 12 total ads, because 3 times 2 times 2. So that's 12 total ad combinations. We want to do that to give the algorithm the best shot of our concept, of using the best variation of our concept from what we give it. And the reason we do that is that so that when we get a concept that works, we have a direction to go. So like, let's say that we do, for example, if you're just starting out and you want to test out the kind of the moments elements of weddings, which we see the highest volume of success across individuals inside the accelerator, depending on your customer type. So let's say that you are going to test, I don't know, walking down the aisle and a dad reveal. We always talk about them too, so let's stick to that. if the dad reveal works super well, then it makes sense that you then scale that so you can use that one dad reveal creative with different headlines. You can then start to pull out 2, 3, 4 other father reveals, and also start to really focus and plan your next wedding shots around making sure you capture those moments in a more structured way. Not saying that you don't already have a structured way, but you're going to have that in mind now, so you'll be able to set things up. I've been a part of weddings where I've seen the videographer and the photographer prep the dad. So like, instead of just saying like, right, come on in and you're ready for it, it's like they'll say something like, it sounds a bit ridiculous when I'm saying it on this call, but they'll say something like, turn around and go see your little girl or something like that. And that'll just, especially if the dad is like an old, battle axe, and he's just like this tough guy. You've got to break down that barrier, and because it's going to make it's going to create the best video and the best photos and that kind of stuff. So I've seen that happen before, but it's not something you have to do. It's just.
And make sure you cry, because I need to run this as an ad.
yeah.
I need tears because this is going to get me leads.
Dank him a couple of times before he goes into the room as well.
Few pints, prompt him to cry. Your job's a good one. Do we have any other questions? We'll start to wrap this up now if we don't get any in. But any questions, we'll stay on for a couple more minutes. More than happy to answer them if you have got any questions coming in. But when you just to kind of recap, I suppose, what you need to be looking at is looking at what your cost per booking is, how much you're paying for your leads. But then when you start looking at individual ad data, are you grabbing attention? Basically, are people stopping on your ad? Because if people aren't stopping on your ad, they are not seeing your ad. You could have the best ad in the world after the first 3 seconds, but if they're not seeing it, you're not going to be getting those leads. So it's important to look at that. But then you can go down a real rabbit hole. There's so much information that Facebook actually gives you, but it's just worth noting, like things like the attention is really important. What's the hold rate like? How far are they actually watching your video? You can even look at the drop-offs and then things like, right, okay, why are people dropping off here? Is there something happening that's not really engaging, or can I improve it? And this is how you develop your ads. And that's the way the Thunderdome system is set up. It's all about kind of just improving your ads each time you launch a new concept. But like we said, we are going to be releasing information today about our Wedding Business Accelerator program, and also a workshop that we are going to be running. So make sure that you keep an eye inside of the group, because we are going to be releasing information about that today.
Sorry to laugh in the middle of it, but this is Billy's fiance posting comment.
Why is she on the live for starters? What are you doing? Do you know she jumps on she watches every single live?
Mate, it's must watch TV. You know what I mean?
What you're saying? So if you cry at our wedding, I'm not going to believe it now.
I'm
going to be thinking about your ads. Well, see, I've said to Rebecca, right, and I don't know what people who are watching think about this, because I think I could record my own wedding video. I don't think I need a videographer. I reckon I can get away with it just by setting up some shots, because I'm not being taken outside and doing the stuff that I ask people to do. I'm not going for walks, and I'm not doing that. I'm going on the drink. I'm going to have beers, and I'm going to have 3 tripods set up with cameras, and I'm going to edit my own wedding video. My tears, Rebecca, I'll be totally real. I'll be crying my eyes out. I'll just be thinking ads, leads. I'm crying. That's what I'll be doing.
I know how to make it happen. I'm gonna stuff his suit jacket pocket full of raw onions, and then just before you come down the aisle, I'm gonna whisper in his ear, Sunderland just conceded in the 90th minute.
Yeah, that might make us cry. She's saying that she's the #1 Get Seen, Get Booked fan, and yes, he said this before, but I thought it was to capture the best day of your life, not content. Always content, every single time, Rebecca. I've always got content in mind. But I don't think we've got any other questions coming in. It doesn't look like it. But like I said, keep an eye on the group tonight for the announcement for the Wedding Business Accelerator, and also the workshop that we are going to be announcing today. And you can get yourselves signed up for that. Any questions throughout the week, get it posted inside of the Get Seen, Get Booked Facebook group. And you don't always need to wait for these lives. But we will be live again next Wednesday at 12 o'clock. Thank you guys for jumping on. Thanks for all your questions. We appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next week.
Cheers, gang.